All right, breaking news. Breaking news. We take you to Windham, Maine. And we have a situation in Maine, and I want to share that authorities are going to be giving a press conference at 7:30 p.m. There will be a press conference. There is an active shooter situation going on in this very small community in Maine. Some of you might be aware of what happened. It seems like it happened a few hours ago, and it was a very chaotic scene in this area. Apparently, someone on a bicycle got shot, and the body was just found in the middle of an intersection on 302. And whoever did this sped off and ran from the scene. And there's an active manhunt throughout this community in Maine, Windham, Maine. And there's an armed shooter out on the loose in Maine. So police and authorities are going to give a press conference coming up here shortly. We would have covered this earlier. Unfortunately, I was in the emergency room. I was having an emergency room situation with my throat. I'm okay. But this popped up earlier. Otherwise, I would have been up earlier. And we got a situation. Well, I went to urgent care. Big difference between urgent care and emergency room. Let me just make that perfectly clear here. So folks, we're in Cumberland County, Maine. And what they're saying is what happened. Prayers for everyone involved, but there's might be some sort of active shooter on the loose, because at this time, whoever did this crime is still out on the loose. They have not been caught. And I think authorities, unless they've been caught, and authorities are going to announce that they have arrested somebody or at least identified somebody. I think at the press conference at 7:30, they're going to get a clear understanding of what's going on here. The vehicle at least involved here, but apparently somebody was shot on a bike. That's what it appears. So what they're saying is Maine authorities have issued a shelter in place, which is still in effect. And Cindy Smith said in the comments, we are still on lockdown. All right. So if the shooter got arrested, if the shooter was taken into custody, most likely the lockdown would have been lifted. Yeah, I'm feeling much better. They gave me antibiotics. Crazy day all across the board. It was hard for me to talk earlier. Maine authorities have issued a shelter in place for parts of Windham and Raymond after a shooting happened Friday afternoon on Route 302 in North Windham. Now, there's a few clips out there. You might have saw this because I know this has been circulating already, but we can kind of keep people up to speed and understand what's going on. We can kind of play the live feeds, the breaking news feeds as they happen, as we then will listen to the press conference. We could do that. So we'll play some clips. We'll start out here and we'll share exactly what happened here in this very small community. We got somebody in the chat that's
news from Windham, where police confirm they are responding to reports of a shooting. It appears there at least is one person dead. Our Kate McCusker just arrived on the scene, joining us now live from Windham. Kate, I know you just arrived minutes ago, but what can you tell us? What have you learned and what have you been seeing out there?
Well, Scott, we're still trying to learn more information, but I just arrived on the scene here in Windham on Route 302, and I can tell you I did see a body in a body bag lying just behind me, behind these fire trucks in the middle of Route 302. We're between the Burger King and the McDonald's, near the Hannaford and the Walmart. A very, very active scene here. There are Windham police cruisers that are blocking Route 302 and Windham Fire and Rescue here surrounding the body. We also did just see 3 more Windham police cruisers take off from over there and head straight north on 302. We're obviously still working to learn more information. Again, there are people there blocking traffic, directing traffic, and we will work to get more information and share them with you as we learn it. But for now, Scott, I'll throw it back to you in the studio.
Thank you. We know Route 302 at Landing Point is closed right now, and this will likely have big traffic impacts. Route 302 always busy on a Friday evening, especially in the summer, so keep that in mind.
All right,
large
so that
in
kind of
North
gives you an
Windham. We do
idea.
want to take you
Here's another
back to
one.
the scene there this afternoon. We know this happened around 1:55, so just about 2.5 hours ago at this point.
But the shelter in place that has been issued for people in the Raymond and Windham area wasn't alerted until about 4:02, and then people started getting texts on their phone all across Cumberland County. We're hearing people getting that message all across the state, really. So this is continuing to unfold. We don't have an idea of the suspect here, but we have had a crew on the scene for much of the afternoon. Kate McCusker has been there where the shooting initially happened. We know that is a very busy area. You're near the McDonald's there, like Route 302, where a lot of people are. So Kate, can you kind of walk us through this afternoon and what you know so far?
Yeah, Kathleen, I'm on Route 302 here in Windham, and again, we know the shooting happened around 1:55 p.m. this afternoon, and I can tell you there is a body in a body bag behind me in the middle of the road here on Route 302 between the Burger King and the McDonald's here right by Landing Road. And I can tell you just now, Cumberland County Sheriff's Office cruiser just came out of Landing Road and went up north on Route 302. Again, a very, very active scene. There has been a helicopter that was circling above us. It got lower and it went down over there. We're still trying to find more information. We don't have a suspect. We don't have an image to be looking out for, but we do know that a gunman is at large and there is a shelter-in-place order for this area. The gunman was last seen around the Windham and Raymond area. And now again, this road has been closed down, and I know Bonnie Bishop, she has been tracking the traffic for us. So Bonnie, I'm going to toss it over to you. What can you tell us?
Okay, it's been pretty stop and go so far on our way up to Windham. It was feeling easy until we hit about Chadbourne Road. Right now I'm at Tanberg and Roosevelt Trails, the intersection of that. You can see them directing traffic, and you can kind of also see there's traffic from every single side. That Roosevelt Trail, that side on the left by the Cross Insurance Banking and Bangor Savings Bank is what the road is crossed off as. That's where police cruisers have been going in. But as you can see, heavy presence here, and this comes again, as everybody's been mentioning, that there is a shelter in place. It's at a time when work is getting off soon. People are getting ready to go home. So traffic is quite busy, kind of a perfect storm of circumstances right now. Not easy to get to the north of Sebago Lake either. But again, people either trying to get home, just trying to get out of the area. But we're seeing a lot of presence right now. Again, it's a shelter in place, so you want to make sure that if you're in this area, to stay out of it as possible or stay inside. We'll keep you updated with any more updates that we get, and I'll keep you posted on traffic. Back to you guys, John and Kathleen.
All right, Bonnie, thank you. And as we do talk about traffic, we do want to give you kind of a better idea of where this scene is happening right now, that shelter-in-place area. There's a map that will show you, but it really just outlines that shelter-in-place situation. Route 302 from Route 85 in Raymond over to Whitesbridge Road in Windham. We know that this gunman, according to police, was last seen in that area. We know the chopper was up in the sky, and so clearly they seem to have a reason to believe that somebody is on the move, and they're searching a large area. But looking at this map, that is a pretty significant area that we're seeing where police are saying shelter in place, activating actually the FEMA system, the FEMA alert system, rarely used. I can't think, Kathleen, of a time when that has been used in recent years, but clearly some coordination between local officials, local emergency responders, and FEMA to get that alert sent out in a large area, the integrated public alert and warning system activated, at least in Cumberland County, we know, and possibly in some of the areas beyond as well.
Yes, and as you take a look at that map, it was a wide area that they're searching now. This was the that alert that you probably saw on your phone here earlier, probably just about a half hour ago. Those started to go out. Just reminding you that, again, a gunman at large in North Windham. They were last seen in the Windham-Raymond line.
Press conference.
Shelter in place, stay inside, lock your doors, lock your windows. Also, as we've mentioned with Bonnie Bishop Live, a lot of people just sitting in their cars right now. So a scary situation. If you are, or if you know somebody in that area, try to make sure that they know to just stay inside wherever they happen to be, as police are searching for this person, with the hope that this person is found quickly, because as you mentioned, John, a pretty robust response coming in. We know the shooting, just to walk you through the afternoon, was at 1:55. And then this alert wasn't sent out until about 4 this afternoon. So the investigation, we don't know much about it. We do know there was a shooting. As Kate McCusker has reported, we do believe that there was a body in the road. We don't know who this gunman is. We don't know how many there are. The alert says one gunman. That's what we do know so far. We are trying to get more information, but as you can imagine, a very fluid situation with law enforcement. So they're really updating us as they're updating you as they're trying to find this person.
And a beautiful afternoon like today. You have to imagine a lot of people traveling on Route 302 trying to get to Sebago Lake, now stuck in getting that alert. And when that went off, that siren noise was pretty scary thing to hear.
Jarring.
And jarring. And if you were sitting in traffic as well, knowing that you are to lock your doors and to stay in your home if you are watching us here this afternoon. But the system rarely activated by FEMA and only activated for real emergencies, according to FEMA. So this isn't something where they think there could be a concern. They do believe at this point, according to the design of the iPause system, that there is a real emergency happening.
Yo, they sent an alert
and
to
we
the
do want
whole
to point out,
state.
even though we are focused on Cumberland County and Raymond and Windham, of course, all areas that are next to that should be on alert as well. So again, shelter in place has been activated. We will keep you updated on whatever we hear from law enforcement as we give you another look at this map, this area where we know that they're searching. But if you're outside that line, you do need to take precautions this afternoon as well.
7:30 press conference. It appears the suspect has not been taken into custody. Here is the general area. Windham, Maine, 302 in this general area. And it's a vast area here. Raymond and Windham town line. And basically there's a manhunt out here looking for a shooter that just shot at a random person, it appeared. I don't know if it was a road rage incident or what. It appears it was on highway or Route 302, the main road going on. It was at the intersection of 302 and Landing Road. And the victim was riding a motorbike. And when they were shot twice at the intersection, according to a witness named Julia Herbert, she said the shooter was in a vehicle that drove away from the scene. And this witness said, I'm still really processing this information through it all. It was a pretty traumatic experience, and my heart goes out to the victims' families and everyone else involved and affected. So this happened around 2:20 p.m. At this time, it is believed, and then there were some people in the chat saying it has not, the shelter in place has not been lifted. The town is literally still on lockdown right now. And we're going to get a press conference. I think either they're going to share some information, maybe put the community at ease, maybe lift the lockdown, or identify a suspect so we can plaster. Now, there's a name circulating online. I'm not going to say the name because we were going to, but people are posting a guy. I'll just say there's initials. I'll get the initials out here. They're saying a name. However, people in the chat are like, well, this name was put on the scanner. I'll just say JF. I'll just say the initials JF. Now, the initials JF, people are circulating this guy online. And, I don't know if it's him or not. And, we shall see. But we got more information we want to share about what transpired here this afternoon. There's a couple other media reports that we'll share here. Come on in, folks. Come on in. Who did this?
Now getting some of our first witness accounts of what happened this afternoon. We are joined now by Julia, who is on the phone. Julia, thank you first for calling in and talking to us. I understand that you witnessed what happened this afternoon. I'm glad that you are okay as you talk to us. Can you outline what you saw today?
Yeah, I was on my lunch break, actually. I was driving in Windham at the intersection where Hannaford and Walmart are, and I did witness a person on a motorcycle get shot twice, and was probably maybe the first person to alert, 911, and it did happen like right in the middle of the intersection, so of course caused a lot of congestion there starting. still really processing through it all. It was a pretty traumatic experience, and my heart goes out to the victim's family and anyone else who was involved or affected by it today.
Yes, Julia, obviously very traumatic. What a horrible thing to witness. Maybe you could help us understand, any sense from you on why this happened, why this person went up to the other individual and, as you say, shot them?
No, I don't have any idea. From what I could see, the person was in a moving vehicle. It's just sort of how it played out from what I could see. And then that vehicle kind of continued on through the parking lot or towards the Raymond direction. And from then there wasn't much interaction that I could see. So I'm not really sure what prompted the entire event.
But just to confirm here, Julia, you're saying it appears that someone was in one vehicle and shot somebody who was on the motorcycle twice. Is that what you witnessed?
Yes.
We got a 7:30 press conference.
Julia, when you connected with authorities, did they tell you anything, about their investigation, or did they tell you what to do in those moments? Because you were there before they were able to get there. How was that when you called 911?
They were very receptive. I think I was the first person to call and report it. They were comforting, but also asked me to stand by, be near, but safely near. Because it was a little challenging to describe the location because we weren't at an actual physical address. We were really just in the middle of the road. But the emergency crews arrived very timely and very quickly. So that was, all of it is unfortunate, but it was very fast, so they were there quite quickly.
And Julia, I can't imagine witnessing this. So you saw, the shooting. Did you happen to see? Did this person run away? Do you know? Were you? I'm obviously probably focused on the person that was shot. Do you remember those seconds after?
It does sound like
Honestly,
a road rage.
No, not very well.
Understandable.
But I was in my car, so it made it a little challenging to sort of get situated. I also, for my own personal safety, wasn't comfortable immediately pulling over. So that was tricky. But the person the person I think that's still on the loose now was in a vehicle that drove away.
Julia, the trauma
like
and the impact of this, as you mentioned, very difficult, I'm sure, processing this now just hours later. How would you describe the area? We've been talking about the traffic on 302 on a busy Friday afternoon. Were there a lot of cars out there? Were there many people who would have witnessed this?
Yes. There were, it was a very busy Friday afternoon in North Windham. There was cars all over. There were a lot of bystanders that came out of their vehicles. Plenty of people there trying to lend a hand.
Julia, you probably have driven through this way so many times. I wonder for you, as somebody who lives here, what are you thinking about this afternoon as you think of this place that you are so familiar with that's now, I'm sure, tainted by just a terrible thing that happened this afternoon?
Yeah, sad. You never think it's going to hit quite this close to home. Mm-hmm. Fortunate too, right? Because who knows how. I feel very fortunate, but I also feel very sad. Mm-hmm. And we think of Windham and Maine being a really safe place, but over the last few years, there have been some really scary things that have happened.
Why? Why?
Did you see the shooter as you were in your car, the person
Near
inside that
Lewiston,
other
Maine.
vehicle who
Remember Lewiston, Maine?
police
Robert
are saying is responsible for this?
Why?
No,
Why?
I didn't.
And Julia, we're hearing you even have a medical background. I wonder how you approached and what you saw and how you processed what you were seeing and how you reacted to what you were seeing.
I do, yeah. So I think as any medical professional would, you know, I alerted 911 as soon as I could, but also tried to keep my safety, you know,
It
as
appears
my main
the
priority
suspect
too.
is
So.
still at large, but the
Glad
lockdown has been lifted.
that you are okay. Julia, thank you
appears.
again for talking to us. You know, for people in
Thanks,
that
Jack.
asurea,
Thank you.
what
Thank
can
you, William
you
Kaufman.
tell them? You know, I can only imagine. You know, we've told people to shelter in place, but for people just to kind of understand the magnitude of the violence that you saw today, is there a message you want to send out to your community?
Really, just hug your loved ones, and yeah, I don't have much right now. Like I said, it's been an interesting afternoon of processing things. But really, the biggest thing is to hug your loved ones, because you really never know what's going to happen.
All right, Julia.
Day by day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to thank you for taking the time to give us your perspective on what you saw. It really helps folks
Big
understand
deal up
everything
there
that
in
played
Maine,
out there
just
earlier this
south of
afternoon.
Lewiston.
We'll let you go, but thanks again.
So it's a little bit
We want to get
northwest
back
of
to our
Portland.
breaking news right now out of North Windham. A manhunt is underway.
And the
a gunman,
manhunt
and
still
a shelter-in-place
continues.
order is in effect.
You know, this comes after a shooting there that happened this afternoon. We want to show you the area in particular of focus right now, where the shelter-in-order place is focused. You can see right now, that's the North Windham area, north on Route 302 there, into Raymond. Of course, this is an incredibly busy stretch of road, as most of you folks realize, especially on a Friday evening in the summertime, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is there's a focused search right now for a gunman in this area. Again, we're talking about the east side of Sebago Lake, around Little Sebago Lake as well. Take this seriously, a shelter-in-place order and a focused manhunt in this area right now.
Now let's go live to CBS 13's Julia Simone, who has been on the scene for us. She's along 302 where the road is shut down right now. And Julia, what else can you tell us?
Yeah, guys, right now we know police responded to the scene here on Route 302 just before 2 o'clock this afternoon. And as you can see here behind me, Windham Police, Fire, and State Police are on the scene. And this area is completely shut down. We do not have any information right now on the victim in the shooting, but we do know at least one person appears to be shot. We're told the suspect fled the scene and was last seen near the Windham Raymond town line. Everyone living between North Windham and the town line area are being told to shelter in place, keep their doors locked, and report any suspicious activity. An emergency alert was sent out around 4:30 this afternoon. Route 302 in North Windham is closed right now, and police say it will be shut down for a while. And this is a heavily traveled road, especially on a Friday, as Greg mentioned. And police say later on this evening, they will be holding a press conference at the Windham Fire Department with more details. Live in Windham, Julia Simone.
We're going to get those
CBS
details
13
shortly.
News. Back to you guys.
All right, Julia, thank you very much. Live on the scene for us right now. We also want to turn right now to the phone, because joining us right now live on the phone is Cumberland County Sheriff Kevin Joyce. And first of all, Sheriff Joyce, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Sheriff Joyce, let me start with this, actually. We want to say your agency's not the lead agency on the shooting itself. That's important to tell our viewers at home. So we won't be asking you direct questions about the suspect here, but we do want to ask you about this shelter in place. Obviously, a lot of folks
has
lit
been
up on
since
this.
lifted.
What was the reasoning and the rationale behind that? And talk to us also about exactly what's happening with this search. How large is it?
So one of our deputies, there was a bolo, be on the lookout for a suspect vehicle, and one of the deputies earlier this afternoon found what we believe to be the suspect vehicle parked running behind Dunkin' Donuts. We conducted a perimeter search, and we really don't know what direction the potential suspect went in, if in fact this is the suspect vehicle, which we think is. Because of the fact that the individual has a firearm, we felt it prudent to put a shelter in place warning out. I think it's safe to say that we're searching the area from Route 85 eastbound into North Windham. However, it's possible this individual, before we put up a perimeter, could have gotten a ride, either hitchhiking, taxi, Uber, friend, etc. But we're searching the area and trying to make sure that we find this individual with a firearm before anybody else gets hurt. The big thing is people should follow it, and they should be hyper vigilant about anybody being around their residence. You know, if it's their neighbor outside, then that's one thing. But if they see anybody, give us a call, because that one little sliver of information could be enough that we find this individual one way or another. The other thing is, yes, you mentioned that 302 on a Friday in August on a good day is very busy. Earlier this morning, I was surprised to see the traffic so busy, so I can only imagine what it is out there today. So I know it's really messing up traffic, and it's a little bit of a pinch point because of Sebago Lake, Little Sebago, and Petgill Pond, and it just kind of pinches off the traffic. So those going around the scene and trying to get to where they want to go up in Naples, they have a number of lakes they have to go around. So it's not an easy thing. But again, I want to go back to, if anyone sees something, either give the Windham Police Department a call, the Sheriff's Office a call, because we're all involved in this manhunt.
Sheriff Joyce, what should people know right now if they're in their cars, maybe parked in some of this traffic in the area?
Well, you know, obviously parked is just be aware. My hope is that traffic is flowing a little bit on 302, especially from like Whitesbridge West up to Raymond. But again, be hyper vigilant. If you see something, say something. There's a lot of woods out there. There are a number of ATV trails out there. So we want to kind of know if we're heading the right direction. And the only way we're going to get that is if somebody sees something and reports it to us. We can send some units. We've got the area pretty well covered with law enforcement, whether it's the Sheriff's Office, State Police, Windham Police, and other adjoining police departments. So all people have to do is call, and we'll go check it out. I encourage people not to take this individual on. Just make the phone call.
And Sheriff, that was a great
We'll
point.
see if he's been called
too, about just
in
how
the next few
complicated this
minutes
is by the sheer volume of people who are in that area right now. I do want to ask you, though, another quick follow-up on. You mentioned the vehicle you believe is a suspect's vehicle found at a Dunkin' Donuts. Can you clarify? There's a lot of Dunkin' Donuts in that area. Is that the one in Raymond that you're speaking of, where they found the vehicle?
It is. It is. Yeah.
And there's a concentrated.
That's why we're using. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to. That's why. And there's a concentrated search around there. But what were you going to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that far from Route 85 and 302. That's not to say that the individual didn't get out of that area either before we could set up a bigger perimeter. But I think it's safe to say that we're looking in the area of Route 85 towards Windham in that wooded area. And like I said, there's a lot of woods, a lot of sand pits, a lot of ATV trails that this individual could get onto and get out of the area. And, even if it's something like I see a car pulled over and picking up a hitchhiker or something, that one license plate or one phone call is going to dramatically help us in determining whether we're onto this person or not and where that individual is.
Sheriff Joyce, final question. How much police presence are we talking? How much law enforcement is out there right now?
Well, I was told by one of my staff there are about 60 police officers up in that area. So I would say 40 to 60 is probably a good conservative number. Understanding that, it's still pretty rural out there.
Stand by, folks.
And,
Stand by.
We got a big area to cover.
Well, thank you so much, Sheriff, for taking the time to warn and alert
Stand
our
by.
viewers of what's going on in the Windham area. We're going to have more coverage of this coming up in just a couple minutes.
Sure. Thank you for your assistance.
All right. And if you learn anything more, please feel.
All right, so we got something coming up right now. The press conference just started. We're going to be putting it up here. Stand by. We'll get an update whether this guy's been taken into custody or not. Stand by. We'll get an understanding if this person has been taken into custody or not. I turn up the volume. Stand by.
Measures, but the man did not survive. Police immediately began searching for the suspect who had fled the scene. Windham police had coordinated with first responders, set up a command post and a perimeter that extended into surrounding towns, specifically the town of Raymond. Officers were able to locate and interview several witnesses who provided critical information. And the information was put out over the radio, so officers were able to locate a suspected vehicle that was involved. During a subsequent investigation throughout the afternoon, the suspect in the shooting was located. At this time, I'm going to ask Major Lucas here of the Maine State Police to come up and make a statement.
Suspect has been called.
I just first want to say thank you to the first responders that responded to the scene. I can assure you that their quick response time and their ability to contain this situation really helped to mitigate any further risk to the public. As the chief said, there was a lone deceased male, and the lone suspect in this case has been located. There is no threat to the public at this time, and that shelter-in-place request has since been lifted. Again, thank you to the first responders. At this time, we will not be releasing any names of those involved until detectives have a chance to follow up and speak with family members. So detectives with the state police will continue to work with Windham and locate family members, speak with them, and we do expect the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner to perform an autopsy sometime in the near future. I can take a few questions, but there's really not a lot of information I can release at this time.
So why send out the statewide emergency alert if the perimeter was sort of just located here in Windham and Raymond?
That was an error with the way it was entered into the system. That was not intentional.
And what started the incident? Do you know? So why send out the statewide emergency alert if the perimeter was sort of just located here in Windham and Raymond?
That was an error with the way it was entered into the system. That was not intentional.
And what started the incident? Do you know?
911 calls.
Oh no, but like the shooting.
That's not something we can discuss at this time.
Do you know why that push alert was sent out about 2 hours before the incident started?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear
Do you
you.
know why that push alert was sent out around 4:30, about an hour, 2 hours after that incident started, and not right away?
The press alert or the shelter in place?
The shelter in place, yes.
I'm not sure exactly what the breakdown there and the time was. No.
And which agency is in charge of sending out that statewide alert?
The agency at the scene requests it, and then in this case, Maine Emergency Management was the one that sent it out.
Gotcha. So would it be the error happened somewhere with NEMA on that?
I'm not sure. I certainly can't at this point say it was them. No.
When was the suspect found, if you can say that, and do you know the motive at this time?
He was found a short time after the vehicle was located.
Or did you say he was found dead or he was found and arrested?
I just said he was located.
Okay, you're not from the same
No, I'm not. I'm sorry. With the trap, you got to yell at me a little. No, as I said, the lone suspect has been located. There is no threat to the public. That's why the shelter-in-place order has been lifted. But again, if we will ask that if anybody was witness to the incident or they have information, please reach out to the state police or Windham police to report that.
Do you have a sense of when more information is going to be available?
As the investigation develops, detectives really now are just starting to look into more and more things. So again, the primary focus at the beginning is to locate anyone that was involved. And now that that's been accomplished, then they'll start looking into information that surrounds the case.
So just be clear, you can't confirm if the suspect is alive or dead?
All I said was he'd been located. We have no information that he switched cars, no.
Can you tell us what the make and model of the car is?
No.
Or any charges to the suspect at this time?
No.
Or was he?
No. All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
So what you've just been
We'll
listening
listen to what they
is a
say, and then we'll.
conference between who you just heard from was Major Lucas Hare with the Maine State Police, recapping some, but not very many, of the details of what happened during today's shooting in Windham on Route 302. It blocked Route 302 for hours, and then they had issued a shelter-in-place order for people and who were in homes or in businesses north of the area where the shooting happened. They had issued that shelter-in-place order for the Windham and Raymond areas. However, the alert about the suspect, who at the time had been at large, Major Lucas Hare just confirmed that the suspect has been located. Very careful to use the term located, did not say anything about if the suspect is in custody. And when asked if he could confirm whether the suspect was alive or dead, he said simply that the suspect had been located. The only other detail that we really got out of this state police press conference was that there was a lone deceased person. We did not get any details about what led up to the shooting. They are not releasing any details about the shooter's identity or the victim's identity. They say they're trying to get in touch with the victim's family now.
All right. So what it appears is suspect's dead. Suspect's dead. I mean, we can read behind the lines right here, right? Read between the lines. They would have said a suspect got arrested. They didn't say that. Suspect has been located. And it wouldn't even confirm. I mean, they have a duty. I think why they wouldn't say he's dead is unbelievable, but maybe that's how they do things in Maine. Usually, if they caught a suspect, they would say a suspect has been taken into custody. Now, the question is, though, was there a shootout between the police and the suspect, or the suspect doing self-inflicted, realizing after the fact, oh my goodness, I'm doomed. Now, again, folks, I just want to remind everyone that this is a little bit south of Lewiston, Maine. You know, we covered a crazy mass shooting up there. Was it last year or the year before? I don't even remember. But you know the case of Robert Card, guy that just opened fire at 2 establishments and then took off, and then apparently did a self-inflicted gunshot wound inside like a tanker trailer type deal. We were there, boots on the ground. So this wasn't that far. Sounds to me, I'll be honest, it sounds like to me this is like a road rage incident. Unless, somebody's mad because a motorcycle maybe cut him off. Because if it was like a mass shooter or something like that, I would expect we would have heard other people, victims at least shot at. So it sounds to me a road rage incident. Guy took off. New police were looking for him, and then ditched a vehicle wherever the vehicle was in Raymond. They were talking about, what do they say, Dunkin' Donuts. Probably went out into the woods and then did harm. But it's a big deal because this is Maine. So we got an understanding of this situation. Active shooter, no longer a threat. And we'll leave it at that. As soon as, they were circulating a guy's name. We'll see if it ends up being that guy's name. And I don't think we'll ever hear from this ever again, other than maybe a press report or whatnot. The point is, folks, stay safe out there. We want to cover things in real time. As we came on, it was still an active shooter situation. The town was still in lockdown. As we were on, the lockdown got lifted, and suspect is no longer here. I'll just say I think the suspect's dead. If he's not dead, then that's a weird way of saying things, that the suspect has been located. You know what I'm saying? All right, folks, with that, we're going to sign off here. We cover true crime 24/7, 365 on JLR Investigates. And anything else breaks, you'll hear it here. Have a safe weekend, folks. I'm sure we'll be back. Hopefully I'm not back in an hour or something, some other crazy wackadoodle stuff. But have a great weekend, folks. Until next time, Magnolia and JLR, be safe out there.